Like it would be dumb to correct a Jamaican on how they say vegetable, because a true intellect can appreciate where that different tongue came from. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Venus RX. It's Lacey, and this is why I talk about topics that are on my mind right now. And the topic that's been on my mind today is how grammar Nazis are the most dumb people on the internet. As I see people going off to correct people's grammar, but using improper grammar to do it here. And they're not just the dumbest people on the internet. From my experience, they're the dumbest people in real life. A lot of grammar Nazis, they're envious of people who have true intellect and a true internal narrative. I was thinking about my little sister, for example. She's a grammar Nazi. And it's funny because she couldn't even graduate high school. Like, she struggled through high school. She had to get her GED in summer school after begging to graduate, and my mom writing letters about her struggling with her mental health and whatnot. Yet she went on, what is that? Oh my God. She went on correcting people's pronunciation and telling everybody she's going to be a neurologist. She's dang near 30 and's never even tried college in the first place. Whereas I notice people who are truly intellectual, they have a tendency to have multiple things going on in their head at one time. Therefore, they might stutter sometime, they might slip up. And that's when the grammar Nazi wants to step in and try to make them feel dumb because they're envious that they don't have that sort of rhetoric going in their head. Grammar Nazis are NPCs. They're non-player characters. And this is also me knowing this from my little sister, my ex little sister. I don't talk to her anymore. I realized she was envious of like my inner intellect and the way that I like to verbalize myself. And she also had a fear of, she had no internal narratives. The more I realized it, it was just her criticizing people and then, not saying much at all. That's what a grammar Nazi does. They scroll through the comments and they get a little envious that they can't build up thoughts or feedback on what's going on. A lot of them lack empathy as well. And they can't make pretty words. They can't look, they can't come up formulate opinions. They can't conceptualize things. As I was thinking about the question when I went to therapy around the time I'm getting diagnosed with like ADHD and whatnot as an adult, again struggling because of me trying to pull myself in too many different areas. I remember going around the room and asking everybody in the room what it looked like in their brain. And one person told me, "Oh, in my brain, I'm sitting in my bedroom. It's my childhood bedroom, no, and I got a race car bed, even though I never had a race car bed in real life. Like I always wanted one. So I'm sitting on a race car bed and there's a bunch of different TV screens playing. And my TV screens are like my different thoughts or my fantasies, and I could make them play different things. And then I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. In my head, I'm like, there's multiple minds. I have one brain, but there's multiple minds. I did note that. But in my main part of my brain, I'm like, it's me on a sitting on a bench, and then the bench goes on to like infinity, like, and then there's a opposing bench on the opposite side of me, and these thoughts, like, different people are on the bench. And this is when I found out that not everybody has strangers in their head, because they're like, what do you mean different people on the bench? There's people who I don't know. And then this spawned a whole question of like me finding out that not everybody has strangers in their head that they talk to. And it's crazy because after I started doing tarot readings and whatnot, that's when I ended up meeting some of the strangers. Like, in my head. I've met a few of them in real life after talking to them in my head, and that made me do deeper research about the thought, the what is it, the thought plan and the collective and whatnot. But I would often ask them different things. Do you think I should do this? Do you think I should do that? Or and they would ask me things too and questions about their lives, and some of them would challenge me in debates. But I had like a team that was for me. They would help me, like, finish the debates. And then on my cell phone is I could show them different things. I could show them my thoughts. I could show them memories. I could show them things. And then people I know would walk by, but I would be with other people when they came by. They were like, hey, how you doing? What's up? But I was always talking to strangers in my head. And then that was interesting, because then another person went on to say, I don't have anybody in my head at all, even other people. I'm like, you don't have other people? He's like, I do, but that's like in a separate section. Then I'm like, boom, he has multiple minds too. He has one section. He said it's another version of me. It's like, he said, I can't explain it. He's like, those memes with like Hermit the Frog, and he got on a hoodie, and he's like, he said, I go and I talk to my inner real nigga, is what he said. He's like, and that's usually how I decide things. And he's like, I don't really see none of y'all unless I'm like thinking like, I wonder what, Lacey's doing right now. And then he's like, then I like go to y'all on Facebook, but no, yeah, not like in my head like that. I'm like, that's interesting. That's funny as hell. And then it got to my little sister, the grammar Nazi. I'm like, what's inside your head? She said, nothing. It's just black. I said, are you serious? She's like, yes, I'm serious. It's just black. I'm like, there's no way. And then I'm like, and she's like, ah. And then I could see why she got frustrated, because I asked it like 3 times. I just felt like she lying. I'm like, there's no way you don't have like anything in your brain. And then I got to a post on X where they were explaining how different people see an apple, and it was 3 different ways. One was all black. It was no apple. One was a pixelated apple where it was like 2D cartoon wise. And then I believe one was a realistic apple. I'm like, I can see an apple in all forms if I want to. If I wanted it to be cartoon, it looks like a cartoon. If I want it to be translucent and clear glass apple like the AI, I could spin it, I could lift it, I could toss it, turn it, all in my brain hair. And I have different feedbacks and ways of talking to people in my head. Like it's, I don't know, it's interesting, to say the least. But that's when I come, and then people were in the comments too, and other people were freaking out, and they're like, no, there's no way your brain is blank. There's no way you can't see anything in your mind. You guys do see things. And then I'm like, yo, how do you think? How do you conceptualize things? A lot of them don't. They just observe other people, and then they try to like to hide it. They criticize other people to like, because they don't have that mental feedback. Because even though, like I said, she would always correct people's grammar and pronunciation and pretend like, she was real enthusiastic about the American language. Or it just pisses me off when people can't know the proper they versus their, and their they, then how can main like, I'm like, because there's so many words in the English language that are the same. There's no way that you're going to get it all, like, and then not only that, online we all use abbreviations. We don't use the proper language. And then number 2, accents. We all have different accents. even in America. Therefore, we're going to pronounce things differently. I'm like, how could you be so ignorant that you focus on people's pronunciation when there's literally people from all over the world? Are you going to correct a Jamaican on how they say vegetable? That would be ignorant. Like it's actually vegetable. You're saying vegetable. Like it would be dumb to correct a Jamaican on how they say vegetable, because a true intellect can appreciate where that different tongue came from. And then also people who talk English from Britain, I love saying that, that's fake English. A lot of Americans, we're closer to the real English. We're for out thou Juliet, and how it's connected to, like, what is it, Pygmalion, My Fair Lady. They started to speak in that sort of accent to differentiate themselves from the lower class individuals in England. I'm like, they got a made up accent, so the way people think, the way people pronounce things, and the way people go about things, I don't know. It's all different here, but I can tell one thing: like a grammar Nazi, they don't have much going on in their brain at all. So they're hyper focused on other people, and they also envy, like I said, people who have things going on in their brain. I can recognize when people stutter that they have, like me, multiple brains here. They're probably flipping back and forth between. Same thing with the other guy who's like, well, there's different sections in my mind. There's different sections in my mind. I'm not apologizing to no NPC online who's like a grammar Nazi. They don't have anything in their brains. They just try to hide it by criticizing other people who do have things in their brains. Hold on. What it also does is it gives them a hit of superiority. It makes them feel good that the quote unquote smart person and intellectual person made a error, because obviously you're not that smart. Why are you talking in the first place? It's making me realize I don't have all these thoughts, and I just look for a feeling, because I'm like, if you don't have this many thoughts in your head, you must search for a way to feel. I'm like, you got feelings because feelings aren't thoughts, but you can't conceptualize that you want some sort of feeling of independent, like not independence, feeling of in superiority over other people. That's what you want. Like, but I feel like that's it, you guys. I'm like, is there anything I wanted to say about grammar Nazis outside? They're all dumb as fuck. They don't have any internal narrative. They're non-player characters, and they usually just want to feel superior to other people. And I think it's a very ignorant way to live, because there's so many ways to pronounce different things here. It's like it's just a cheap shot to try to look smart and smarter than someone else. I'm like, I don't got no respect for grammar Nazis. None of us spell anything correctly on the internet, and in real life, oh God, we all pronounce things differently, and that's the difference between somebody who can correct you. I could take correction and stuff, especially me. I'm living in a foreign country. People help me out with pronunciations all the time, and I appreciate that because it's helping me to learn the language and learn the tongue. But they don't do it in a way that they try to make you feel little or stupid. You could sense the, oh, because it just annoys me. And why are you saying it like that? Or a loser bitch that's going to pronounce the word the same way you pronounced it, but just wanted to make you feel a way. And that's another thing I noticed. A lot of grammar Nazis, they're women, and then when men do it, you could tell they're like bitch made too. Like, a lot of, but most grammar Nazis I meet are women trying to search for a way to feel superior to other women, especially publicly and socially. It's just a quick way to try to knock down your ego, try to create some self doubt, and try to even the playing field. It's not anything I respect. I'm like, every time I'm like, I give them that speech, you're dumb. And I'm not correcting my language, not for nothing. But that's it, you guys. I hope you have a good day, night, evening, whenever you're catching this reading. Goodbye. This isn't a reading. Whenever you're catching this dialogue, I thought this was my tarot page. It's not. Bye.